Don Matrick, and CEO of Massive Media, Lindsay Smith.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
How are we doing? Are we pumped? Did we have a good day yesterday? I know I talked to many of you yesterday and you said it was one of the best events you've ever been to, right? Okay.
Yeah, we really appreciate everyone starting a little bit earlier today, and for the people who are watching us remotely, it was a pretty great day yesterday. We had 8 very innovative companies, a collection of panelists, lots of dialogue going on about the opportunities that we have out in front, and now attendance seems to keep growing, so we're at approximately 3,000 people participating, with a lot of support from the Premier and the Minister making exciting announcements over the course of the day. So it was really a great day. We appreciate everyone spending the time and being here early this morning, so thank you.
Give yourselves a round of applause. Now, Don, what was your favorite thing about yesterday?
Seeing the excitement of you meeting Ray Kurzweil, and Lindsay basically sharing with Ray that she wanted to tackle him and spend more time. And I was actually surprised Ray left to fly back to California. I think he had a tough choice there.
Yeah, fair enough. Okay, so moving along for today, we'd love to now welcome to your hosts from the summit, Greg Caws, President and CEO of the BC Innovation Council, along with Honourable Andrew Wilkinson, Minister of Advanced Education. Please put your hands together for Greg and Andrew.
So it's great to be here for day 2 of the Tech Summit. Greg Caws, the President, are you?
Well, I can be CEO as well.
All right, President and CEO, 2 titles.
That's
the BC
right.
Innovation Council. I'm Andrew Wilkinson, the Minister of Advanced Education, and I had the responsibility of getting the Tech Summit started when I had the Ministry of Technology job 2 years ago. So here we are. It's great to see it come to fruition and great to see you here.
Great. So I would like to welcome you all here today. This has been a fantastic event for us. I think, well, looking from the size of the audience, I think a lot of fun was had last night. Certainly one thing I learned is that there were a lot of friends getting together for the second time. It was super exciting to see. Hopefully today we'll have more of that. But Minister, what I wanted to talk to you about was the announcement that we had about our new strategy, and maybe we can go through that a little bit.
Sure. We just want to catch up on the news from yesterday, basically. And what we did when we started to conceptualize the summit was how to put together the pillars that make the Tech Summit fly. And that's talent, ideas, capital, and markets. And we realized that we needed to be active in all 4 of those spheres. And so those are the pillars that we thought we would work on, and Greg was appointed as head of the Innovation Council to make sure that these things came together. My job in advanced education became responsibility for the talent pillar. And of course, you heard yesterday about our plan to get this started right from kindergarten onward with Premier Clark's announcement that we're going to be funding and fully engaged in coding programs for kids in the K-12 system. We've also rolled out in the last couple of years something that we used in the advanced education system in the technology colleges and in the universities to find the market space for coding in those institutions. So a year ago, we funded 5 pilot programs in BCIT and the 4 major universities to see if the student uptake would be there for coding at the university level. It is there. It's interesting, though, that these students these days are remarkably good at this stuff on their own. So their first question is not, oh, I'd like to sign up. It's, do I know this already? So we're having to adjust our programming to make sure that we're actually capturing the market with these kids because they're so skilled already.
Yeah,
the second thing we do in the talent space is to work with the sector, and we have what we call the Labor Markets Priority Board, and we have to hear from the sector on an ongoing basis what the sector's missing. This is kind of an ongoing phenomenon with the sector that we hear folks in the tech space say, we need more engineers and developers. And we need to say to them, well, that's not civil engineers and mechanical engineers, is it? Exactly what are you looking for? And so we have to adjust our programming and our curriculum content in the colleges and universities to match that demand. That's now an ongoing cycle. We have a relationship with the folks in the sector where we're now adjusting our programming to match that. About 25% of my $2 billion budget every year is now directed at specific programming related to in-demand occupations. We use that to dedicate funding in the institutions toward things like computer programming and engineering management. We've actually directed funding at now a total of 1,000 positions in computer science and close to 500 positions in engineering management, because that's what the sector is looking for.
Excellent, excellent. The next pillar, well, is something that we have. It's called ideas. BCIC's job is to actually help tech entrepreneurs and make BC a great place for them. One of the things we do is we run a large number of accelerators around the province, and at any one time we have about 200 companies within them. As well as these programs, we work with universities to help students get going. And of course, there's the greater ecosystem. Out on the trade show floor, you'll see a large number of our partners. They all have the large sort of booths like Life Sciences BC or the BC Industry Technology Association. So out there, we have a ton of ideas, and they need to get support. They need talent, they need capital, and they need to get to markets. We have currently a venture capital presentation running today. We're going to have 40 of our top companies, and we've brought venture capitalists from all over the world. So there's about 200 VCs in the room, and that is all to get these ideas off and running. Because to actually pull off a company, of course, you need capital, and it's one of the big struggles once you get past your friends and family and angel investors.
So, Greg, help me here. If I'm a VC coming from Boston or London or Austin, Texas, and I say, what's on offer in British Columbia? Tell me a few success stories in the last few decades in the IT space.
Well, in the IT space, we've got a ton of stuff. One of the things that people aren't really aware of is that McDonald Detweiler is actually a large IT company. We've got a tremendous amount of, I'm just going to grab my list here because I had to write some down.
Hey, he doesn't want to offend people because he
I asked this question last night. For example, here we have health companies. We have companies like Contextual Genomics, which are changing how we use the ability to identify cancer in women. We have VanRx, which is this large machine you can see out in the back corner out there that's actually created using chip making, silicon wafer making technology. It makes something called aseptic filling systems, which means it's a very, very sterile environment. We've got lots of gaming here in town. We've got stuff like Cloudhead Games. Obviously, we've got Electronic Arts and a tremendous community. We've got in ICT, we've got sort of the, I'll call it more esoteric stuff, Fusion Pipe, which is doing something called multi-factor authentication, so that you don't actually have to worry about your passwords as much. For example, you would use your cell phone to make sure that you're identifying yourself as yourself. And within clean tech, we've got great companies like MindSense, which actually sort ore as it comes out of the ground in real time into the good pile, the stuff to process now, the stuff to process later. And companies like Dark Vision, where you actually can go down into wells, oil wells, gas wells, and actually see the pipes 2 or 3 kilometers underground. Very amazing.
So you're comfortable with the number of prospects that are here today?
Yeah, we have a ton of ideas. The idea, of course, is you got to get them out there. But financing is actually sort of the number one issue that they have. We kind of got to get them over the hump, which is where we did this $100 million, well, we'll call it a grant, but we're setting up
the venture capital funding.
Fund, right?
So when I came into the tech ministry 2 years ago, the issue that was front and center from the BC Technology Industry Association was that VC was drying up. Post-2008, there had been some serious problems in the sector in terms of returns, and so there was a concern that a lot of very strong, very viable companies were going to die on the vine. So we listened to that, and through 2015, the issue became quite critical, and we said, we've got to do something about this. We've got to make sure that there's some gravitational force for venture capital to come to British Columbia. And what I learned, and what you taught me, was that it's important to have a VC manager in the area code. It's not that they're lazy, but relationships are built. People want to be able to visit the investments they make. They want to be able to drop in and see how things are going. And particularly, a good VC is active in management of the company. So we thought it was critical to attract capital here. So what we did over the past year was put together this $100 million venture capital fund. It's not the only money that will be available, because the premise is that we will recruit a manager. Their job is to multiply that, come up with a fund of funds, probably in the range of $400 to $500 million, and then a portion of that will have to be invested in British Columbia. And now you immediately say, well, is this going to fly? Are the VCs going to be interested? We've got dozens of VCs here today who are very interested. And I actually had dinner last night with a few folks from major VC firms who are very, very interested, because they see the combination of talent, they see the ideas that are here, they see the investment-grade companies. Now, beyond that, that's at a kind of higher stage when the company is a little more mature. We also have had for about 15 years now a very successful angel investor program. Some people in the room that I see in the audience have already been angel investors. And the concept that's familiar to most of you, but I'll elaborate it for those who haven't heard of it, is that Greg comes up with a great idea, spends his first $20,000, starts to run out of money, turns to me as his uncle and says, you know, with $100,000 we could all be rich. I, being an impressionable investor, say, sure, Greg, no problem.
And I've done that, yeah.
So there's the friends and family stage, and then we get to the angel investors, who are a little more hard-nosed, a little more experienced, and can afford to invest in things that are risky. So we thought we would incent this with a 30% tax creditable program, so that an angel investor can put up to $200,000 in a company and get $60,000 back immediately in their taxes. Now, Greg's company can put together 25 of those angels to put together $5 million in angel investment seed money. This has worked superbly well. It's a low-risk program for government because we know the cost. The companies go out and take the risk, as do the angels, and it's gotten us to a great place in terms of startups in this province.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely.
So, Greg, once we've got these companies off life support and they're out in the marketplace, how do they find their markets? How do you help them find markets?
Good setup, mister. Well, the number one customer, frankly, can be government. And that's something that we're going to try and do a lot better job on now, to be able to help companies engage with government. We've run about 250 business-to-business meetings over these 2 days. And part of it is to actually help companies learn who to contact in government to be able to do business. One of the things we've done is turned the what could be the quite enormous paperwork to do it down to 2 pages, so you can actually survive filling out the forms. And we have at BCIC people that can work with you to actually engage you with the proper people in the ministries. And as we go into the future, we're going to be putting in programs into place so that you can actually use government data, for example. We have something called the Developers Exchange, where we're opening up live government data through APIs so that you can actually create applications. An example for that is the BC assessment data. So you can use that data and make any application you want. And of course, the government would like to be one of the customers of that type of thing. Another thing we've done.
Let's take that example.
Yeah.
My brother in my garage starts a company, gets access to BC assessment data, puts together an app that's really useful for realtors. He then goes to friends and family, raises the $5 million through the 25 angel investors, gets himself to that stage. Is that where you want to talk to him, when he's already arranged his angel investors, or beforehand?
Well, actually, we like to engage with them right away, because one of the things you want to do, obviously, as an entrepreneur is make sure you're actually solving somebody's problem. You don't want to create the great idea and then open it up and say, come, I have the great idea.
You mean my brother should have asked a realtor before he created something?
Yeah, effectively. Okay. So it's really great to talk to us early on, and you know, that's our job, and we do this day to day. Another thing we've done out in the Okanagan is we have the new Okanagan Center for Innovation, right, which is sort of a combination.
So let's just talk about that for a second. We have people here. Eric Jordan from Victoria is here. We've got folks from the Okanagan here. Is this all happening in area code 604, or is there
Well, no, it's
interesting stuff
happening all over the
province?
province. I mean, what's happening is we're getting permanent installations of, I would call it technology ecosystems. We have one in the Okanagan, in Victoria. We have one in Nanaimo. We had one in Prince George just open up a few days ago. We have one out in Kamloops. So these are all sort of busting out all over the province. And I did neglect to mention that, but of our accelerators, most of them are out there. We even have a virtual one. If you're up in Burns Lake or Atlin Lake, you can get access to all our programs.
So tell me, do you specialize in any particular zones? You have a lot of people in IT and software, obviously. Do you have a clean tech accelerator?
We have a clean technology accelerator. We have an agri-foods accelerator out in the Lower Mainland. We have a mining advanced materials accelerator as well. And then we work with our partners like the BCTIA, Launch Academy, Life Sciences BC to make sure that we're all not overlapping and we're delivering the same stuff. So you will find out, and you probably felt yesterday, that there's a bit of a different vibe in BC. We tend to work together towards a common goal, and that's what I found to be a really distinguishing feature of being in BC. So.
That's great. So Greg and I made the big leap 3 years ago now to decide to get into government. It's worked out very well for both of us. We hope it's working out for you, and we want to wish you a very happy day on the second day of the summit and a very productive day. We've got the hundreds of school kids upstairs and some university students doing a coding camp, and of course they eat it up. They could probably be teaching the camp actually rather than taking it. And the second major feature that's going on today are the VC meetings with prospects right here in British Columbia.
Great, thanks. There's Don. Thanks very much.
Thank you.